I think my mom is having an affair. I think my mom, who is 50 years old, might be having an affair. For context, things are already pretty stressful at home due to some external stresses. My parents have had relationship issues, but nothing too extreme, at least I thought. Tonight, I, an 18-year-old girl, was with my mom and dad, who is 50, when I saw my mom on her phone. I know it's bad, but I peeked out of curiosity, and I saw her texting someone who isn't my dad, really inappropriate messages. I feel like everything about my mom has been a lie, and I feel so betrayed, angry, and sad. How could she do this to my dad and us while we're going through such a rough time, especially right in front of us? But I still love her, but I cannot hide this from my dad because it's morally wrong, and also, me and my dad are also extremely close. I also have younger siblings at home, and while I'm moving out relatively soon, they are not and will likely be caught in this mess for longer. I want to tell my siblings, but I want to protect them as well. One of them is pretty much FS is old enough to handle but will still be devastated. I'm also worried about the divorce, as splitting custody is going to be rough. I also know this is selfish, but I'm worried that things will change for me, my relationship with my parents, and my life. I am in an extremely privileged position in life, and I am extremely grateful, and I don't want that to change. I can't keep it to myself, both because I find it morally wrong and also because if she's bold enough to text those things to someone literally right in front of me and my dad, she is definitely going to eventually get caught. I'm worried my mom will pull some stuff and try to destroy my relationship with her side. I'm really close with my mom's side. I don't think my worries about that are founded on much reality, but it still scares me. I'm worried if I hide it, my dad will never forgive me. He has had issues with family lying to him about important matters before, not in regards to an affair or anything like that, but health issues and stuff. I just can't believe my mom would do something like this when we're already going through such a rough time, especially right in front of me and my dad. She couldn't even put forth the effort to at least try and hide it. I'm also worried about the fact that we might be moving soon as a family far away, and if my parents divorce now, my mom might be left behind, and I likely won't see my mom for a long time if that happens. And I know my siblings will at least consider living with her, and I don't want to be far from my siblings. I don't think I can say anything because we are in an extremely stressful position. I don't want to cause an even bigger fight. It feels straight out of those Minecraft Reddit stories on Reels. I always thought those were fakes until it actually happened to me. I don't know what to do, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I need to tell my dad, but I can't bear the thought of losing my mom. Am I a terrible person for kissing my ex-boyfriend's best friend? So I started dating my first boyfriend, who is 19, between graduating high school and college. Our relationship went long distance, and our colleges were about 2 hours away from each other. During the long distance, my boyfriend had cheated on me with another girl who is also 19, which I'd only found out through finding their text messages, and while it was an extremely hurtful time of my life, I did ultimately end up taking him back, although I'm not sure if I ever got over the resentment and hurt from what happened. I acknowledge, though, that the decision I made to stay was my own and that I can't necessarily blame anyone for the way I felt after the whole ordeal. I suppose he had specific ways of trying to make it up to me, but I simply couldn't look past what happened so easily, especially considering that to this day I don't know if he had ever even fully cut off the girl he was with. Anyway, as our relationship continued, it only became more difficult for me to navigate my emotions. I loved my boyfriend in spite of everything, yet I won't lie, he was very narcissistic and believed himself to be right about practically everything, which caused problems for me. He also had a huge God complex. At the same time, I was not as affectionate or warm as he wanted me to be, and he held resentment towards me for that as well. TBH, I was definitely not a perfect girlfriend, and there were times where I was quite cold or didn't communicate my feelings very well. I wanted to end the relationship by the time summer came around, and by the end of June/early July, we were split up. I think in his head he thought we were going to get back together, but for me, I honestly did want to take time away from the relationship and long distance. At that time, he also left the US to go on a summer-long family trip. During that time I spent some time with his best friend. During which things escalated so quickly that in hindsight it's hard to even recollect what happened. I had liked his best friend platonically, but I also think my feelings must have been more complex than I'd realized. On top of that, I am a total pushover and have a tendency to do what I think people want out of me, and I was confused about how I felt about my relationship with my boyfriend, and I was overall in a strange headspace. Honestly, I also really didn't want to feel alone, as I do not really have many close friends besides my ex. Only like a week and a half after my boyfriend had left, I kissed his best friend. As soon as it happened, I felt an immense amount of guilt, and I wished it could have never happened, yet it did. I ended up telling my boyfriend what happened, and he felt extremely betrayed, as he should. He blocked me on IG, and I think generally he doesn't plan on keeping me in his life, which I understand. I'm not sure exactly what kind of advice I'm asking for, because what has happened has happened. I suppose I just want to know how to get over my guilt because I can't forgive myself for what I did. It haunts me every minute of the day, and I fight the urge every second to text my ex how sorry I am. I know he did something that hurt me, yet it's no justification. How can I make this up? Am I a terrible person for what I did?